everybody. Welcome to Just Riffin with Jules Leyhe, a show where we talk about tips, techniques, tones, and all things guitar with my favorite guitarists on the scene today. We have a very special guitar player today as my guest to talk about singing with your guitar, most specifically with slide guitar, the one and only STANLY Bactian. It's really great to have STANLY here today. He's one of the most special, gifted, unique guitar players, I think, in the world today, but especially in the scene of slide guitar. His slide guitar voice just stands out to me. And so I have STANLY here today. We're going to talk about so many slide guitar things. STANLY, how are you doing? Great to see you, man.
I'm great. Great to see you too, Jules. Before we start everything, I want to say thank you for you to invite me on your channel. And may I introduce my friend, all my friends that help me here.
Please.
Hey, yeah, Danny here, and there's Taro. We're doing audio and video, so it's glad to be here. Thanks, Jules. Thanks, Stanley.
Where is Andrew?
Right on. Awesome. Great
There's
to
another
see
one,
you guys.
Andrew, on camera guy.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, it's great. You know, I love the getting a little behind the scenes peek, and just I appreciate you, taking some time and energy to go to a studio and kind of do this the right way. So that's awesome, man. I mentioned STANLY having a specifically unique and just awesome voice in the slide guitar world. I'm really curious how you got into this style of playing, STANLY. How did you get into slide guitar? How did you get into bluesy music, gospel, playing like a vocalist? How did you get into all that?
Okay, maybe before I start to, learn the slide, at first, maybe back in 2018, I regularly play at Five Stars Hotel in Jakarta. We play jazz, standard jazz, and then like the whole week without off. And after the contract was done, and I think 2019, like I plan like long holiday and rest at my home. So like at that moment I figured out uh what I have to do in this holiday. And I searching on YouTube and find Derek Trucks. I watch him, and from that moment I start to listen and learning all the basic blues licks and stuff from that.
Cool, cool. And what a what a player to get inspired by. Of course, Derek is one of the greatest of all time. I mean, that sounds like that's one heck of a place to start your slide guitar journey as far as inspiration is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Derek is everyone favorite slide hero.
Totally, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's great. And I had just sort of a similar, like, this music just sort of, I feel like it found me, and I was just so ready to, absorb it and everything. And that's really cool to hear how it kind of found you that same way. I'd love to get into, let's just start talking about guitar stuff and techniques. And just a couple things. Like, first of all, you play in standard tuning.
Standard tuning, as always.
And yeah, now you, and I'd say the other sort of most maybe my other favorite standard tune guitarist who plays slide like you do is Dylan Adams.
Yeah,
I feel like
absolutely.
you guys, Dylan's just a great guy and obviously an amazing player. But I'd love to hear about what about standard tuning works best for you? How have you unlocked the fretboard and really found your voice in standard tuning? Whereas, for someone like me, I'm in open E tuning,
Wow, that
and I
sounds really
love
good.
that.
That sounds
Thanks,
amazing,
man.
man.
Thanks, man. Well, how did you, have you spent time in open tunings, and you just found that standard was kind of where your voice really worked best, or how did that work for you?
Honestly, back then, like I just I was too lazy to learn new tuning system, and like I should at that moment I should play regularly on hotel and stuff to work to survive to get the money. So I back then I thought like if I go from standard tuning to open tuning, like I will have a lot of problems to fit in to every songs. Then like everyone back then told me like you would never get that with standard tuning, but like I have the apa berontak.
Rebel.
I have
Rebellious.
the rebellion inside that no, I can play in standard tuning, and I love like I can still play the chords that I knew before, the scale that I knew before, the symmetric scale, and I can combine that with the new things that I found in slide playing.
That's totally cool. That part that makes so much sense to me that you don't have to relearn this system and inversions and like where your scales are and all that. So I mean, I completely understand that. And as somebody who is mainly open E tuned guitar, it really does take a long time of playing in a tuning for it to feel like home. So I want to take, you're inspiring me because I really want to get my standard tune chops on slide up to like where you and Dylan are. I feel like I have like even though I've spent more time in standard tuning overall in my life. So thank you for showing that it can be done.
Yeah.
But hey, so let's get into, who are we kidding? I mean, I want to hear you play some guitar, and I'd love to sort of pick your brain about some of the stuff you're doing. So, you know, one of the things for me about your playing is just this vocal sound. Because I think slide in general is kind of trying to emulate a vocalist most of the time anyway. But you have a way of touching the strings and both, I think, with your right and left hand. I see how you work the strings and the way that you get certain texture out of the notes and this tone. If you're going for an Aretha Franklin or Mariah Carey style run, like you have this way of touching the string so that it really sounds like, it gives you goosebumps because it's like, wow, how do you do that? I'm just really curious about your touch. And if you could demonstrate some of that sort of vocal style for us, and then maybe we'll take it from there. But I'd love to hear you just play some vocal style runs, and then
Okay.
maybe we can like dissect a little bit of what you're doing.
Okay.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna get another job. Let me go check Craigslist and see what's available these days. Dude, that was ridiculous, man. Thank you, Stanley. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, yeah, it's just really, really, really beautiful playing, and it sounds like you, all the while you're incorporating all these classic things and, inspired by people like Aretha and Mariah and those long runs, but it really sounds like you. What is your you have a volume pedal, it sounds like?
Yeah, of course, and overdrive.
Uh-huh. And it's light. It must be light because it doesn't sound like that's probably a nice little trick to your tone is like light overdrive.
Yeah, yeah. The gain is like maybe 9 o'clock, just 9 o'clock
Uh-huh.
or 10 maybe. The volume is around 10 or 11. The tone is uh maybe 12 or 1, and
Uh-huh.
that's it. That's the I use the volume, my volume knob too. So this is my actual if I full all things, and then I go, and sometimes I just turn the knob, tone knob. Something like that.
Okay, so I just for everybody at home right now, really quick, because obviously Stanley's playing some amazing slide guitar stuff, and that's a chop, and he's really got it down. But the overall sound has a lot to do with this gain staging, where you could hear when he had his volume up all the way, it was actually like fairly, it's like surprisingly gainy and distorted sounding. But
Yeah.
it gives Stanley, and I'm mentioning Stanley, but I do this too. It gives you all of this range in the middle to use.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you're using your volume pedal, there's this whole thing where you're not going for the most gain. You're using it to and let me just sort of I actually don't have my volume pedal right here right now, which is one of my secret, that's like definitely a signature thing for
Secret
me.
sauce.
But total secret sauce. But let's see. So check this out. Like, let me demonstrate exactly this concept on my own right now. So here's my tone. Now that's if I really dig in, right? But if I don't really dig in,
Sounds really great, man.
thanks, man. Thank you. And yeah, I feel like this understanding your gain staging is a big part of how somebody like, you and I get tone that makes people go, wow, there's because then when you dig in a little bit more and the notes bite, they have that they're distorted. But if you play soft, they're really nice and beautiful and sort of angelic, and you get to have your cake and eat it too, so to speak. But
Yeah, yeah.
that part of your tone is a huge thing that I feel like people don't understand. But then obviously we get to the next thing, which is like your hands and your fingers touching. Are there any picking techniques, playing techniques? Like, how are you? I've noticed your right hand, you have kind of an interesting way of picking the notes.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your picking technique?
Actually, back then, like, I start with, using pick at at my beginning stage of learning guitar. I learn
Yeah.
all that alternate picking, sweep picking, and I just drop it all the time. Every time I play, just drop and like throw away. One day, yeah, there's a funny story about that. One day when I, using my pick, it's thrown away, and the audience got it. like, like total embarrassing to me. And then from that moment, like I just use whatever I got from this hand. So I don't know how to describe the technique, but I just learned how to play the usual, fingering style or scaly things with my hand. Like then I found out that every finger has different tone option. Like if I want to go hard, I go to with middle finger. Like sometimes I combine three all of them. If I want to go soft, I just use the index finger. If I want to do more softer than that, I use the sweet finger, ring finger. Something like that.
Awesome. I mean, instead of going out and buying 5 different distortion pedals or whatever, it's like, well, I got 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4 options right here. Might as well make these all do all the talking. And I love that. The more I feel like guitar players probably all go through phases of things like buying a bunch of different pedals or, trying different things. And then, you mentioned Derek Trucks, of course. It's like, what's Derek do? Well, he's just playing his volume knob and he's got an amp that he really knows.
Yeah.
And, it's all right here. That's kind of the dream, is to get to that point where, your hands can just do all of the talking in this way. So I think this is just great inspiration for folks out there who might be wondering, gosh, what should I get, or how do I get the tone that and it's like, well, you kind of got to know, you shouldn't get 1,000 pedals and 10 amps. It's really good to just get a great guitar that you really have a relationship with, and an amp that feels really good. Maybe do you have anything with your reverb? I love reverb, and I love how you use reverb. Do you have a specific reverb or anything that you really like?
I just use reverb from the amp, deluxe reverb now. So
Great. I
right
mean,
there,
it sounds beautiful. Oh, what's that?
deluxe reverb amp Fender, deluxe reverb. I just use the reverb from the amp, like 3 or 4. The knob.
It sounds
Yeah.
great.
Thank you, man. I just after you play, I just curious like what strings do you use, what gauge do you use, and how you
Well,
apply right hand technique on yours.
yeah, sure. I'm actually in open E flat right now, which was just for I was playing a show last night where I just tuned all my guitars down a half step. I'm usually in open E, and I play 11s to 50. And usually I used to play thicker strings, but I ended up wanting to do more like fretting with the and just playing more like I used to play more almost like a dobro, where I wouldn't the strings were like bridge cables.
Yeah.
They were really tight strings, and I wasn't fretting, so I used thicker strings. But now I definitely like to fret more, and I like to bend notes and be able to like do more of the Derek thing, where
Uh-huh.
I can really like play a solo on that same slide guitar, and be able to not not have bridge cable strings, but actually be able to use them. So I do 11 to 50, and it works for me. What strings are you playing? What size?
It's 14. Yeah, 14.
And you're tuned to open E.
Open E, yeah. No,
Man,
standard
that's
E, standard E.
oh, apologies. Right. Standard E tuning.
Standard
Right.
E, yeah.
So it's 14 to what?
I forgot, I think 60?
Yeah, sure. Those are some nice big strings you're playing, man. That's great. I mean,
Yeah,
it sounds really, really great.
yeah. But the
um,
action, I think I found that if I, increase my gauge, like 14 or 13, I can lower my action, so I still can play like, because I rarely do bending, very rare. So if I do
Right.
bending, I just do like half, like Django stuff. Something like that.
Yeah, tasty, man. That's one of the things is that string bending is way too far in my DNA. I bend a lot of strings, and I love like Albert King, so I'm bending notes.
Oh,
I'll do like two-step bends.
yeah, he's crazy, man.
And so I got, yeah, I couldn't do it on 14s. That's nuts. I'd have to go to the hospital after that. Well, hey, so, oh yeah, and then the other thing you just asked about my right hand technique. Something that I really like to do is, I mean, it's a lot like Derek, because if I'm doing anything like this, like. Just anything like that, my thumb is the leader, and I'm not thinking about it too much. I just love to plant my thumb and have it kind of like follow the strings and mute whatever I'm not playing. And, I think about, like, for all that single note stuff, I think one of the biggest things, I mean, I've talked about it plenty in my other videos, but a lot of the time, because we have 6 strings and we only want one to sound, the trick really is getting the other 5 strings muted, right? Like muting or blocking or whatever you want to call it, has so much to do with making one note at a time really like ring clearly and beautifully and sound good. So an exercise that I have just for folks who are out there, if you don't know this already from my Ultimate Slide Guitar Masterclass video, I'll show you this lesson really quick. This is just a quick little tip. So I'll play this in this will sound the key of B. I'm at my 8th fret, but I'm down a half step. So check this out. I love this exercise. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick thumb, 1, 2. So thumb, index, and then middle finger. And then that unit moves up 1 string. So it'll be string 6, 5, 4. And then I'm going to go up 1, and I start with my thumb again, and I go 5, 4, 3. 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. And it just sounds like this in one position. You can even do this. This is a great way. And what you're trying to do with this exercise is you're trying to make only one note at a time really ring out. So check this out. Here's a great way to actually make it a little more musical. You can go. Let me do that one more time. Sorry. So anyway, that is just like a really quick lesson of, that's one way that I've sort of built the technique so that you can be muting, leaving behind, you're always kind of like cleaning up your mess. I feel like with slide guitar, like you leave the thing behind and you mute it because you have, this other thing you're doing. So that's just a little bit about my right hand technique and muting. And I would love to, you just blew my mind a minute ago when you were playing. You're doing all these really long runs.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds like generally what I would guess, or what from what I heard and what I hear from you, you're just very tastefully mixing major and minor pentatonic.
Yeah.
Definitely doing little things like you're playing the notes in between the nooks and the cracks, like between the fret notes. So you're not just, could you demonstrate a little bit? And I'd love if maybe you could give like just a little mini lesson of something and an exercise that maybe people who are watching could try on their own to start doing this. But I'd love to get into those runs that you do.
Maybe like my way of learning a bit odd, for some people. Like, but the first time I learn and focus all my practice into slide is like learning the pitch accuracy. So I just like focus on staccato things like I just focus on pitch because for me pitch is everything, and then like legato maybe we can do all of that in pentatonic too, like major. Like I do that, like like the method of John Petrucci kind of exercise. So maybe something like that. The statement, musical statement, something like everyone knows that, right? Everyone
Sure.
knows that. Uh, there's ton of way of doing it. One of the way is like staccato in every note. Another thing is like more like still this movement from sacred steel player. So the difference is like the guitar player tend to like stick to the fret, but the sacred steel comes before the fret, like so they doing something like that. And from that point, like you can go like 3 note runs, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey things.
So let me just try that. Make sure. Right. Like you kind of go back up into that. That sort of a thing, right?
Yeah. And from that 3 note runs, we can improve more to 4 note runs and 5, like 4. That's 4, 5, and we can explore that into maybe like 10. Something like that.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I
Yeah.
mean, keeping your pitch. So I've got a question about pitch. I'm something that I discovered that was a huge light bulb moment for me is learning just how much Derek actually uses the frets with his slide. And for something like it's funny. I'm not entirely sure. Let's see. Right? You hear, you know what I'm talking about? Right? Like I'm kind of overdoing it and only doing it there. But I feel like you, in some of those runs where you're like, do you use the frets at all when you're playing slide and to get texture and just sort of like to help with the pitch? Do you consider that?
Yeah. Sometimes I do that. Like, Derek often do something like something like that, right? But
Yeah.
mostly I just like what the words of mengambang tuh apa tuh?
Floating.
Floating. Yeah. Like
Uh-huh.
my slide, my finger floating above the strings, like don't even touch the strings at all.
Right.
Like not like that's the difference. So I think because that way it's open possibility for me to do more run, especially like those long runs like like 10 notes or 12 notes, because if I do press too much on the frets, like the articulation and the pitch is lost for me, in my opinion.
Sure. I understand, and that's a funny thing that I've yeah, it's it's just like salt or something. Like you can always add salt. You don't want too much. If you overdo any of these techniques, it can be a little bit like maybe gimmicky is a strong word to use, but it can just be like you don't want to overdo all these things.
Yeah.
Something like that fretting with the slide, like to be done with, just not overdone and like tastefully is kind of the goal. But it's really cool. I love talking about techniques like this with you, just because for people who are watching who might have never considered that,
Yeah.
maybe they have a whole world of like checking this stuff out now that, that wasn't available to them before. We were just talking about it right now. So I love that. Are there, obviously we've talked about Derek, who are some other slide guitar players that you really admire, or, in your, like maybe somebody we don't all know that we should go check out? Are there folks that you're checking out these days that would be really inspiring for us to also know about?
Of course, Dylan Adams, one of them. I saw you guys, the session you guys make on the YouTube, and Joey Landreth, Ariel
Yeah.
Poulsen, and maybe Taro King. Yeah, the
Who
Sacred
is it?
Steel player, Taro King.
Okay, I don't know him. I got to check him
Yeah,
out.
yeah, he's playing with like Robert Randolph, but more singing style. Like he really focused his playing on the singing style of it. And Aubrey Jen, I think Dylan Adam,
Uh-huh.
yeah, mentioned him too. Yeah, Aubrey Jen. Like Aubrey Jen is my main hero. Like I really want to sound like him, pretty much.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I can tell that you really dig his style. And that's a great list of, just some of the best guys out there today for sure.
Yeah,
And I'm curious, talking about Aubrey Gent for a sec, and just the sacred steel sound. That's definitely a big part of your inspiration.
yeah.
I'd love to talk about your vibrato
Uh,
and just some different options that you have when you're doing something like using vibrato. Like, can you demonstrate maybe, there's the sacred steel inspired vibrato. Are there
uh,
any other types of vibrato that you really like to use for different reasons?
if maybe I have like two ways of doing vibrato. If I doing like minor thing, minor pentatonic, Elmore James kind of bluesy stuff, I do wider vibrato, like but if I do like major pentatonic or major scale, maybe sometimes it's just tiny bit of vibrato in the end of the phrase, like something like that.
Wow, gorgeous playing, man. You sound great, Stanley. It's awesome. I love that. I love just watching you play. And
Thank you so
uh,
much.
yeah, no, it's really, really awesome, man. That's really inspiring and very cool to. It's just like what we were saying before, when we were talking about like techniques and stuff. These are just ways that you get different sounds from what you've got right here. One one thing that I've encouraged people to try different vibrato types, and like you were saying, really tight, like. rapid fire, like,
Yeah.
and then and also just things like with whenever I'm working with a student or anybody who's curious about these things, like that's not how I would actually really play, but that sounds like we took the mod wheel up on a synthesizer or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
right? You know,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
here, and we can just do these analog things. So now if we're trying to sound more like, you know, Mariah Carey or Aretha Franklin or whatever, like, you know, it's like, okay, that's going to be a wider, we just adjust how we're feeling the notes. I like to do a little loosey-goosey sort of like, yeah, like I'm literally letting the slide sort of bounce back and forth on my finger a little bit. I love this one. This one's really fun. It's like you
Yeah.
died in Pac-Man, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anyway, just goes to show how many cool things we can do just with this, you know. The Looney Tunes intro theme song goes, you know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's so much fun stuff we can do with this little piece of glass or metal, whatever it is.
Another
You know,
trick is
so
like,
yeah, man, I love that. If you guys haven't messed around with your slide in that way and played only where your dog can hear and then down here and tried all this stuff, there's room to explore. You know, I feel like Stanley and I have probably spent an awful lot of time by ourselves sitting there trying to figure all this stuff out. And you know, what seems really silly and is totally kind of silly, but some of these sounds we just made are super funny or whatever. It's a great way of actually developing your skills, getting your sound. Maybe something like that will turn into something really inspiring. I was watching this video of one of my current favorite players. He plays great slide guitar, but he's not like slide first, but Dylan Salfer. Oh man, he was doing this thing where he was going like this. I haven't tried this on slide guitar, but he's basically scratching the strings, and then he was going like this. And it was like, whoa, he got this texture. I hadn't really seen anybody else doing anything like that, so I started trying it, you know. And you just never know how many different little tricks and ways there are of touching the strings to get something inspiring out of it like that. You know, it's just great.
I really should
So,
try that.
isn't that cool? It's
Yeah,
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, and you know, especially, yeah, it's really cool. I'll send you the clip where Dylan's playing this just badass stuff, and he's playing it on an old telly, and it's just like, wow, you know,
Yeah.
that guitar has all these sounds in it that I didn't even. Wow, he's a beautiful player too, Dylan Salfer, out of Minneapolis. If you guys don't know him already, make sure to check him out. But yeah, so I would love to. Do you have any? Do you have any like arrangements of popular tunes or any sort of solo guitar pieces? You were kind of doing like sort of Amazing Grace type of, you know, maybe improv just a second ago, but
Yeah.
I would love to hear you play something for us. It could just be a blues, but um, if you had any sort of thing, you know, you could totally play anything and it'd be great. But if you have any pieces or anything that you could play and just sort of demonstrate your full package of, you know, how you sound, I'd love to hear you play some more.
Okay. I will use volume pedal, of course, on this. Yeah.
Man, thank you, Stanley. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And it goes right back to what I said earlier. Like, you're not just major for a while, but then throw in a nasty long minor blues run, and like, just the way that you're able to handle pitch, so that you can spell that out and have such definition and clarity in your presentation of those different types of things that you're blending and mixing in and out so effortlessly. I mean, really with mastery, man, it's really beautiful playing. Were you thinking about a tune there, or are you just kind of riffing, playing bluesy vocabulary? Like,
Lucy?
Itu lagu atau
yeah, it wasn't like that was just kind of a blues
Oh,
uh, jam, right?
dia tadi itu main lagu atau main improv?
oh, it's just a song called, what's the title in English? Malam sunyi senyap.
Silent Night?
Silent Night. Yeah. It was
Cool,
Silent Night.
cool. Beautiful, beautiful. And man, yeah, just really love that. You inspired me. I want to leave everybody. We're just kind of wrapping it up here, and I want to give everybody a little piece of homework or something to work on. Let me give a piece of homework to work on, and then Stanley, maybe this will inspire you to give an exercise that everybody can kind of take home and have something to work on. If you guys want to start to play in the sort of style that Stanley's playing in, obviously he's a master and he's doing this amazing stuff with great ease, but a way that I've sort of incorporated these longer runs into my own playing is by shorter runs and by doing little sort of scalar exercises like this. Let me show you. So I'm in E flat, and just on my first string, what I might do is I'll take like the major scale and I'm going to sequence it. So I'm going to go like this. So that's the major scale, but you can also do that with major pentatonic, which is just removing the fourth and the seventh, which gives you a little bit further to go, a little more vocal sound.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, just as far as an exercise, starting to, because like, man, you hear Stanley play and you go, how do I start doing that? I'd say something like this is great. If you can get major down, another thing that you should do is just simply also do minor. So here's minor pentatonic. You start doing that kind of faster. And so that, now those are 2 and 3 note runs, right? Stanley is playing 10 and 12 note runs, but I'm trying to just sort of help you guys like crawl before you walk, before you run, So that's a great exercise that I found very helpful for me. Stanley, is there like a tip or something that you could show folks as sort of a last thing here, that they might be able to get a little, build their own slide guitar chops? Is there a tip or something that you could show folks?
Yeah, anyway, I did that exercise too. Really?
Yeah.
Really, I did that.
I'm sure.
Like from 3 to 4. It's really, really great. I still do this every day, every morning with the coffee. And I think the most important thing is the phrasing. I think learn to make a statement for me. I don't know if this is something for the beginner to do it, but for me the most important thing before all those comes up is the phrasing. Like if we do major, like the call and response thing should be clear, like like the question and answer. question again and answer. From that, I think that's my my tips and tricks. From that question and answer, we can move all the runs so effortlessly and naturally. Because if we do only run at first, like it sounds nonsense, like before the statement. So I think for me, it's like personally, I love to make the statement, musical statement first, like something like that.
Oh, just something like that. Man, so you did just hit a nail on the head, though, which is also all of these things end up boiling down to very simple concepts. Call and response
Yeah.
helps organize your playing. You're not just going boo. Yeah, it's not just runs and runs, and there's a lot more to it, and there's a lot of structure in your playing.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, I mean, aside from having great chops and technique and tone and all that, it's like it really boils down to just having that clear idea from that's where you're coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why everything sounds like, then you get to mix and match and it's really powerful, but it's because of a really, the structure and the foundation of where it's coming from is really solid. And just those kind of like why we love blues, the simplicity, call and response, those things are really apparent in your playing all the time. So I love hearing you say that, man. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah. I think usually I just use like two ways. Beside the call and response is like motive playing. Dylan Adams play really lot of motive things, but for me, I do like singing thing like. Like the motive thing. For me, that's like. Yeah.
Awesome. That's beautiful. And so unfortunately we're out of time today. I know you and I are going to do this again. So we'll carry on our part 2 sometime soon, but I love leaving on that note. Just, it's all about small things and these sort of, you develop concepts, develop your ability to create really rich call and response, but it all comes down to just simple things. And I love hearing where you're at right now. I'm really glad that the world is starting to get to know you better, and that you're getting more recognition, because I really do think you're one of the greatest slide players in the
Thank
world
you
right
so
now,
much, man. Wow.
Yeah, no, I want you to blast off. I want people to know about you. So I'm really, really so thrilled that you we're up for sharing some time and sharing some tips, and we're up for hanging out with me tonight, man. It's an honor to have Stanley Bactian on Just Riffin. Thank you so much, Stanley. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, Jules. The pleasure is mine.
Yeah, you got it. And hey, I said it just saying, we'll do this again for sure. I'm sure, if you guys have questions, if you have certain topics that maybe, we didn't address this time, please let us know in the comments below. Any questions you have for Stanley, just fire them away. We want to read these. We want to, help you guys on your own slide guitar journeys. If you already do know me from my Ultimate Slide Guitar Masterclass on YouTube, or my guitar masterclasses that I have for sale, my Patreon page, I'd love for you guys to check those out. Those are what fuel my YouTube page. My YouTube channel is coming from you guys making it happen. So there's a lot of educational material that I have out there that I'd love for you guys to check out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so. Follow Stanley. Go follow him as well on all of his socials here on YouTube. And we will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for joining me on Just Riffin. Thank you, STANLY. Take care, you guys.